Yeah, yeah. Moment of silence, got a story to tell. Young king, Malcolm-Jamal, he's doing well. Started off in the game at a tender age. On the Cosby Show, he set the stage. Childhood star in the spotlight's glow. Wisdom beyond his years, he stole the show. From Theo Huxtable to a prominence path. Navigated life with grace, followed his craft. Malcolm-Jamal, flying high and free. Actor, producer, man, and poetry. Yeah. Moment of silence, got a story to tell. Young king, Malcolm-Jamal, he's doing well. Started off in the game at a tender age. On the Cosby Show, he set the stage. Childhood star in the spotlight's glow. Wisdom beyond his years, he stole the show. From Theo Huxtable to a grown man's path. Navigated life with grace, followed his craft. Malcolm-Jamal, rising high and free. Actor, producer, man, and poetry.
Continue to run at a pace that's got my heart pumping and veins popping. Damn near ready to drop this struggle to stay in the game, only stopping to catch my breath for a sec. Oh, it's insane the way I train. Bench pressing hypotheses and philosophies on how to play out this game called life. You know, I squat and do lunges with pressures that weigh a ton on my shoulders, and the older I get, the bolder are my fantasies of how I can win at this. Sometimes I watch my self-esteem slowly steam out past my lips upon exhalation. And since I have yet to be drafted by any of these top religious teams, I replenish my own soul with meditations of honor and praise for the Most High and plenty of thanks for the blessings bestowed. And I try hard to abstain and refrain from this feeling of being owed some type of explanation. Damn it, God. Why give me a mind to choose only to have me compete in this game called life when it's clearly designed for me to lose?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live stream today. Today, we're going to be here to honor and reflect the life and the legacy of the late Malcolm-Jamal Warner. He was an exceptional actor, musician, and director. Malcolm was best known for his iconic role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, which resonated with audiences across generations. Behind his remarkable performances, he was a passionate advocate for social justice and a source of inspiration for many. Join us as we dive into his incredible journey, celebrate his contributions to the arts, and explore the lasting impact he has left on our culture. Thank you all for being here with us to celebrate his legacy. What's good, EJ? How is everything going for you, girl?
It's going, girl. It is going. It is Saturday. I'm happy to be here with you, remembering Malcolm-Jamal Warner.
Absolutely. Listen, of course, everybody, for those that's been hiding up under a rock, we have lost Malcolm-Jamal Warner, aka Theo, but he was not just Theo. There were so many layers to this man. He is definitely going to be missed, even though I never had the opportunity to meet him. His presence was still very much so available. It was very much out there, whether it was through his podcast, whether it was through his music, whether it was through any television show that he was a part of. But every comment from every celebrity and every person that came in the path with him all talked about how generous he was, how honorable of a man he was. And so, like I said, EJ, I just want to, take out the time just to, celebrate him for who he is and who he will forever be in our lives. So, what was your first memory, EJ, of Malcolm-Jamal Warner?
Theo. I think
Right.
that's like the biggest one because like that's like where it all started was Theo, and I'll never forget Gordon Cottrell, that damn shirt, that darn shirt, like forever etched in my memory. That is my most favorite moment. Most favorite.
Yes, yes. He had a story. His character as Theo definitely had a story to tell. I like how they literally showed us him growing up and becoming a young man out of the house. Like he was one of the only kids that actually left the house. All the other ones kept coming back, but he might have came back for groceries, but he definitely left the house. He went off to college, became a professor, and became, just a successful Cosby, or a successful Huxtable, I should say. He became that one successful story child that they could talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll never forget the Monopoly episode either, because that Monopoly episode was funny.
Oh, yes, that was the very first one. What do you say? I'll eat for free. What do you say? I'll eat bologna. He'll survive off bologna and sandwiches or something.
Yeah, some kind of stuff. I said, oh my God, Theo, no, you didn't.
Right. But he had a plan in his world. He had a plan as to how, because, he was a kid that was like messing up in the beginning. He was messing up in school. As a young teenager, he was messing up in school. And it was just like, what are you going to do with your life? And I love that, Claire, as well as the father, Bill, Cliff, I'm sorry. They showed that they were patient with him, even though it was times they wanted to, choke slam him, but they were still patient with him. So he just grew into himself. There were so many moments on the Cosby Show. Oh my God, when he was doing the Ray Charles thing, they were doing all the different little performances. But I just absolutely enjoy, just being in that Cosby world, because for me, I don't know about you, but for me, EJ, I grew up in single family home with my mom. And then once she, couldn't take care of me anymore, then I grew up in my grandmother's home. So to actually see that there's a possibility that there could actually be a family life, like to have a husband and a wife and those were some of the TV families that, me as a young girl was looking at, just to get inspiration on how I should move in life. Now, I'm not saying I took all the advice from the show, but just watching it, it kind of gave me some inspiration.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, EJ, because I will talk.
Girl, no, I was just saying, no, yeah, I was agreeing with you. I feel like the Cosby Show was the staple show. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a staple show for a lot of people. It was that show that everybody kind of tuned into. It was like that family show, and it really gave you a sense of like it was one of the first times you were seeing a family on television, a family where you had a wife, a husband, these kids, and everybody, and it wasn't people struggling or anything like that. It gave you the sense of, oh wow, this is what a full family looks like that's thriving. And then you have Theo right there in the middle of it, being the only boy out of with all these girls. In my house, it was reversed because I was the only girl with all these boys. So I just always kind of gravitated toward that Theo character. I just always liked him. He was just a real, he was like that character that was, that I don't know, I can't think of the word that I'm looking for right now, but he was just that character that you could really gravitate towards. And he was always funny. I just really enjoyed him as that. And then later on, because a lot of times these actors, especially when they grow up like this with these one shows, sometimes they don't always get to do something else, but he just did so many other things. So, but I know we're going to get into it though.
Definitely. And speaking of other things that he did before he went on to other things, girl, he was on the Magic School Bus. I'm like, wait, what? That was him? that was him on the Magic School Bus. So I know a lot of people may not actually remember him, but I'm just going to give you guys a quick, like literally a quick clip of just what he did on the Magic School Bus. He was because y'all know the Magic School Bus was basically a cartoon that came on in my city. It came on every Saturday, and it was they would go on this magic school bus. Literally, they would go to the moon. They would go under the ocean. They would investigate the stomach. They were where you learned those scientific things that you were supposed to really like learn in school. And so I'm going to show you guys just a quick clip, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Hello, Magic School Bus.
Don't you mean The Twilight Zone? That show had more science fiction than fact.
So his character was the producer in the Magic School Bus. Now, what people would do at the end, in this Magic School Bus, it was another world inside of that world where the callers, because the Magic School Bus was a television show inside of a television show. So Malcolm-Jamal Warner portrayed the producer, and the people would call in at the end of the show of the Magic School Bus and call him and basically complain or say, well, that's not how it's really done, and that's not the way things go, and in the planets aren't this, and he would tell them, yeah, well, we understand, it's just for TV, so on and so forth. So I enjoy just watching, listening to his voice, but not realizing, dang, that really was him back during that time. And I was a little older when this one came out, but I was still grown and watching cartoons. I'll just say it like that.
Girl, I still watch cartoons sometimes. Listen, you're never too old for cartoons, but I didn't know that. I didn't really look at the Magic School Bus, but I didn't know that. But I did. I've heard of the Magic School Bus, of course, but I ain't never actually like pay attention to it or like remember paying attention to it. Say it like that, because some stuff I just forgot. But I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Right. Yeah, that's just what it is. Just plenty of things that Malcolm was a part of that we really didn't even realize. So before we continue, let me check out the chat because you guys have popped in and out, and I appreciate you guys. Shout out to, let's see. Thank y'all so much for being here. DeMarcus Vaughn. We have Stephanie Wilson Gross that's here. Thank you for being here. Yes, definitely drop y'all favorite moments. Let's see. The Marcus, I'm gonna get to that. I'm definitely gonna get to that. Read between the lines. That's actually next on the list. So just hold tight. Well, after one other thing, and then we'll get to that for sure. Sass Palm, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. All right, y'all. Moving right along, just as I stated, after the Magic School Bus, then we had Malcolm and Eddie. And of course, Eddie was the funny one, but the one that was always getting into the shenanigans. Malcolm kind of had to bail them out sometimes, but then sometimes Eddie, portrayed by Eddie Griffith, would actually help him out of a crunch because, they acknowledge, hey, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect. In the first season, Malcolm's character he worked at a radio station, but then on the second season, he went on to purchase Kelly's, which was the club or the bar or the lounge or sports bar that they would visit all the time. And so then the sports lounge became Malcolm McGee's. And so he ran he ran Malcolm McGee's, and Eddie, he was a car repair person, a mechanic. And so he ran his shop. So they were business owners, but they were doing things non-traditionally, and they just had so many funny moments. They had quite a few people that we, hey, I know I've seen that person's face before. And then you realize, dang, I did see that person before. Because, this was back in the 90s when, all these different little shows started coming out. Do you have any memories about Malcolm and Eddie, EJ?
I looked at Malcolm and Eddie. I don't remember the whole premises of it, but I did watch it. But I only watched it because because Malcolm was in it. I was like, oh, Theo in this. Let me watch this. And then Charmaine was in it. And yes, I said Charmaine.
Right.
Then Charmaine was in it. I was like, okay, let's watch this right here. So I did watch it. I did like their dynamics. And don't get it twisted. I do like Eddie Griffin too, but that was like my main reasons for looking at it because I had those familiar faces. Let me see what's going on. But I did like it because when you said that he worked at the radio station first, I was like, I don't remember that. I remember that bar.
Yep, that was in the very first season. That was the pilot season where he worked as in the radio station. And basically, when the disc jockey would leave out, he was responsible for changing the tapes and whatever else, little things that went down at the radio station. He tried to audition to become the sportscaster on the radio station, but that just didn't work out. So at the end of that season 1, we ended up where Kelly was leaving, and Kelly was also their landlord. So they were paying Kelly her rent late, and Kelly was about to put them out that first episode. So, it was just some shenanigans, but the show was actually really good. I wish that it would have lasted longer. They kept bringing in, more people, but, for the most part, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, he stood his own. He did his thing. And, I was like you, EJ, I watched it because he was in it. So definitely super excited, to have had that moment. Watching, and Eddie Griffin's favorite line was the Shady Grady. I can't play the song right now, but I have to figure a way to get it in here for people to see at some point. But then after Malcolm and Eddie, oh my God, the list will literally go on and on. But y'all, I can't give y'all every single thing that he has been a part of, but we will talk about this man was in music videos and he was directing music videos. The Liberian Girl for Michael Jackson. Now, do you remember any of the actors that was in the Liberian Girl video, EJ? I know this might be a little before your time because you kind of young. You're younger than I am, but
I mean, if you're playing it right now, this is a lot of actors. This is everybody.
Exactly. And this is who were popping as we can say now. This is who was popping during this time, 80s and 90s. These were the celebrities that were so popular. And this is what, Malcolm-Jamal Warner was amongst some of the greats all the time. Like, he walked with so much grace. Can a man walk with grace? He walked regal. It was just something different about Malcolm-Jamal Warner. But one of my favorite times when I saw Malcolm-Jamal Warner, not just in these music videos, but because he was like the video vixen for the men. He was that guy who was like literally in a whole bunch of music videos. I don't know, maybe the East Coast people would remember Special Ed. He produced and was in Special Ed's video. I Got It Made. Like, he was doing his thing. But like I said, the most popular one, the one that I love the most comes with my fellas. Heartbreak, y'all. He directed this video, and of course, he had cameos in the video as well. And your girl danced every time and screamed every time I saw him. Even though I was in love with New Edition, it was a plus to be able to see Malcolm-Jamal Warner on camera, right along with the rest.
Who house that was? Did you see his interview with who house that was?
No, whose house was that, EJ?
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he talked about how they didn't have a budget, so they asked Eddie Murphy could they use the house? Because it's a whole layered story upon how we got to that part and why they didn't have no doggone budget. I don't know. But
right.
It is what it is.
You know what New Edition situation was, dealing with them people and not getting paid. So, it's like, okay, well, they ain't paying me. I ain't gonna use all my money. I'm just directing the video. I ain't so That's dope. That's good information. Good information, y'all. You learned it here. If you didn't know it before, you know it now.
Okay.
But I loved it. And then I just pull all these little memories up just to show, he was a roundabout individual. He grew up in the home with his mom and his father for a little while, but primarily he was raised by his mother, but his father was still present. He was still there to, instill those values and things that, men should carry with themselves, from day to day.
Yeah.
So I definitely love that about him. Now, to get to what DeMarcus Vaughn was referring to, read between the lines. Before it was this read between the lines, it was the season 1 had Tracy Ellis Ross in it. And then for some reason, Tracy Ellis Ross was no longer in read between the lines. We just know that she was in California because she had gotten a job out there in California. And so, he basically was left to raise his kids. And thankfully he had a family or a connection of people to help him raise his family. You see your girl, Nicole?
Mm-hmm. I see her behind
Charles' wife.
That's what I was looking at. I was trying to think of what her name was. I don't know why I can't think of her name right now in the
DML.
Yeah, as much as I had to say her name so many times, but yeah, I see it. I was like, oh, that's Watchmen Duty. You know what's funny is that I promise you I didn't look at this season of it. I only looked at when Tracy was in it.
Right.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. When you said that, I was like, that what happened? I didn't know what happened.
Yep, she ended up getting she had a new job out in California, and even the kids went and visited her out in California, and the oldest daughter was kind of feeling some type of way. So, but he held it down. He literally held it down. He had some moments where he had to understand why his daughter was taking birth control. And thankfully, his best friend, who was portrayed by Nicole, she, explained to him, look, this is what's going on. And she's a girl. You wouldn't be able to help her with that. So that's why, y'all got me. I can talk to her and help her through some of those things. Because like I said, mama was out there in California. But I hate that they weren't able to continue, another season of Read Between the Lines. But it was another good show. But he was in it. He was all over it. So salute to Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Lucille.
Oh, Lucille. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do a rewatch on some of this stuff because I was like, I remember seeing Tracy Ellis Ross, and then that's all I remember. Like, I don't remember the premise of the show. Like, I remember that the show because I remembered the read between how they be making them the way they titled the shows and stuff. But for whatever reason, I just don't remember everything about it. I gotta go. This would be a good one to look at.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, girl. But it's so much TV. There's so much TV. But with that, y'all, with that being so much TV, let me get to some more TV moves, some movies, some things that we didn't realize Malcolm-Jamal Warner was in, but we were glad that he was a part of, because this just shows his longevity in the entertainment industry. Like, he was continually working. He was continually doing something. If he wasn't on a screen, he was making music. He was, just creating new avenues and doing different things in his life to stay busy, and I love that for him. Tuskegee Airmen was one of them. He portrayed one of the Tuskegee Airmen, Leroy Cappy. Like, this was the first time I ever saw him in a movie for my brain cells anyway, in a movie, 1995. And so I was just like, oh, okay, Theo, he's gonna be, I know he didn't really, after a while, he was like, I'm not Theo. I know Theo is what got me to where I am, but I'm not Theo, I'm Malcolm. But bro, you gonna forever be
Theo.
Theo. For sure.
Which
sure.
says a lot that people call you by a certain thing. Like if people can remember a character like that with so, like you were just saying earlier, there's so much TV out there for people to gravitate and remember that says so much. Right. So I always think, I know if to them it probably feel like they're like just forever in that role, but when people can truly remember like that particular role for you, like when you stay edged in people's mind, like that's the first thing that pops up for them, then to me that's like a sign of like, oh yeah, you did that.
Right. Yep. So he was that guy. He was that guy. And did you know he was in Dexter? I know you say you had never watched Dexter, not this one. So he was actually in Dexter. He had a role. I won't call it a small role, but it was a role. He was in like 3 episodes, and he was the attorney for Dexter's girlfriend. So Dexter, Dexter is an unaliver. You know that much about Dexter, EJ. Mm-hmm. That he's an unaliver. He's a serial unaliver, and his girlfriend was running neck and neck, but she was going through some stuff. She had beat up her baby daddy and trying to lock her up and take the kids away from her. And they never gave him a name. They just said Rita's lawyer, but he stepped in and did what he had to do to, help her keep her kids. But of course, Dexter had to step in as well. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, so he was in Dexter. Just all over the place. And I
see his discography is long. Like I was looking at it, I said, "Oh, he was in all of this." I mean, I realized that some of it probably are just like, not maybe like main characters, but just the fact that he was in so many things. I mean, it's a lot.
Right. Definitely. Hey, Johnny Davis. Hey, Shayna. Oh, okay, Shayna. Okay, hey, Tamika's in. Thank you for tapping in. Yes, y'all do all the things that Tamika asked y'all to do. Hit that like, hit that share, spread the word. Definitely subscribe to both channels, All Things Ruthless, as well as EJ the TV Junkie. And for those of you that are just tuning in, we're just here, reflecting. And I promise you, I'm not going to be much longer, but we're just here reflecting on the great Malcolm-Jamal Warner. He has done so many great things, and I'm just grateful to be in a generation that literally, grew up with him. And so I was listening. I don't know if you guys have heard the R. Kelly song, but since R. Kelly got in trouble, I really wasn't messing with him like that. But he literally broke it down the way that we feel. Like he was saying in his song how he never met him, but it's as if he still knew him. He was still a brother, basically, because Malcolm-Jamal Warner, he grew up in the house with us on our televisions every Thursday, and now in syndication for some of the youngsters today, and so. So yeah, so he
I thought that was fake news. I saw that and I was like, I'm not clicking on that. Ain't no way.
Click it.
I was like, ain't no way.
It may be AI, but it definitely sounds like R. Kelly. I'm gonna try to play a piece of it at the end. I probably have to most likely cut it out. So if you're watching it on the replay, gang, I apologize if it's no longer here. So but he does, as y'all can see on the ticker, he also had just recently, I guess within the last 6 or 7 months, has started a podcast entitled Not All Hood. And they have some great content on it. If you can actually listen to it on YouTube. And then they started realizing, you can actually do videos with podcasts. And so he have a few podcast videos as well, and it's right here on YouTube. But the YouTube channel is Not All Hood, so it's definitely worth listening to and checking out. If you're looking for a good podcast to listen to, he definitely had one. And again, I just hate that we're not gonna get the full Monty of who Malcolm-Jamal Warner could be. Like, he's won awards and been in the high places and all of that, but I feel like there was just so much more that he could have done. 56 years old, you know.
That's very young. That's very young, and still a lot of life to live at the end of the day. And just listening to a lot of his interviews, because I've kind of been looking at a lot of his interviews recently. You know how people start to play all the clips from all the interviews and stuff. And I was just like, man, this guy is just so wise. Like, just the things that he had to say, so humble and so kind. And I don't know. It's just always interesting when people ask about legacy and what people think about their legacy, and just to hear what he had to say about his legacy. And it was more so about just people remembering him as being a good person,
right?
Nothing else. And I don't know. I thought that was touching.
Definitely. And trivia, Malcolm-Jamal Warner was named after Malcolm X and jazz pianist Ahmad Jamal. So his mama loved Malcolm and daddy loved the pianist Ahmad Jamal, and they put the names together. So salute to that family. Now we know how we got the name Malcolm-Jamal, and I'm here for it. So we do find out that he was in American Horror Story. Like, bruh, when do you have time to sleep? Because this man was literally in things that you would never even, you could ever even imagine. This was his second time actually working, or the first time he worked with, what's the name, EJ?
Who? Are you talking about Angela Bassett?
Yeah, thank you, because my brain locked, y'all. I'm sorry. And I know her. Like, I love to know her. But my brain just locked on me. But yeah, he was in American Horror Story with her. And then, like I said, we'll find out a little bit later, he was in another project with her as well. So let's check. Let me check the comments real quick.
The Coven was still the best American Horror Story ever.
Think so?
By the way.
You think the Coven was the best?
I think so.
It started getting extra dark later on. That's all I can say. When it was American Horror Story, so I guess what should I have expected, you know?
Girl.
Okay, let's see these comments. Tish Priceless said, man, free R. Kelly. Okay, I ain't got nothing to say. Yes, music and poetry too from Tamika's Den. Never had a scandal. Everyone had great things to say about him. You're right, Tamika. That's hard to do in this industry. So that just speaks to the volume of love and support that his mom as well as his dad, contributed into his life.
Yep. Absolutely, positively. That speaks a lots of volumes and says lots of things about a person when you can go to Hollywood.
I hate it. The rapping, I hate that he's gone. That's all I can say. Theo rapping with Cockroach in the Cosby Show was so that always, every time him and Cockroach got together, it was gonna be some shenanigans. Whether it was them shaving their heads bald or sneaking to go do something, or it was just always something between Cockroach as well as Theo. But yeah, they always had me laughing, the two of them together.
Mm-hmm.
So we also know he was in The Resident. Dr. AJ Austin, he was in that from 2018 up until 2023. Man. And I watched it. And he was he had one of those he rarely smiled, but when he did, he only had maybe two women that kind of made him smile. But then in this show, when his mom in the show passed away, he decided that he was they were gonna have a baby by, was it his friend's sister or the girlfriend's sister? Either way, the whole storyline was like, dang, like people would kind of go to great lengths to have a family, and he wanted that family, and he was just going to do it, by any legal means that he could do it. but he's done so much, so much. But amazing work. I wish that, you know, I mean, I guess, well, every show has its time and season, and, you know, Resident was another one that, you know, it kind of ran its course. Any thoughts on the Resident, EJ?
Yeah, you know I didn't look at the Resident. Stop playing with me right now. You know I'll be looking at TV.
Lord have mercy.
TV
you
junkie.
watch everything but it's all good. Now you got something.
It's on my list.
Yes, add it to the list. You got something you can kind of go back in and check out. And I loved it when him
hold on. We had two of them in there, girl. You know I got to watching them.
They were on the same show for a while.
Didn't nobody tell me. Y'all should have told me this. I would have tuned in.
Yes, they were the two beautiful brown men were on the same show at the same darn time, y'all. That was another show that he literally had just done. It was called Alert Missing Person Unit, and he was Inspector Bill Houston. So he did like 3 episodes of Alert, and I honestly, now that I had no idea that he had even that was even a show. So I'm definitely gonna have to go back and check it out. If not for him, but just, you know, definitely to see, you know, what the show was all about. But it's called Alert Missing Person Unit. And he portrayed Chief Inspector Bill Houston. This man he can like literally portray any and everything. He was also in Jeremiah. Did you ever watch Jeremiah?
I didn't, but I was reading that earlier. I said, "What's Jeremiah?" I don't think I ever saw that. I was trying to figure out what Jeremiah was, but I did see that in his discography.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like a Walking Dead type situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I never took the time out to actually watch that one either. I just saw a lot of the old episodes or the trailers or the small little clips of it. I'll say that. But added to the list, he was just in so much. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was also in Houdini's video. Yep, he was in so many. He was that guy. At the time, he was, and he still is that guy. Like he could have walked on anybody's set and probably, you know, did pretty much anything that he wanted, you know, because he's Malcolm-Jamal Warner. But the thing about it, with him being Malcolm-Jamal Warner, he never carried himself as to be like better than anybody else. He always remained humble and always greeted people when they came, new people when they came to the set, and made them feel comfortable. So, yeah. Again, this was the second time he worked with what's the name, EJ?
Angela Bassett.
I don't know why my brain is trying to blame on Angela Bassett. What is going on, brain? Get it together. But he was in this episode. Now I did watch this episode. Her husband, and I'm gonna just spoil it for somebody, but her husband, back before he married her, he was married, had a wife, and I think 1 or 2 daughters. Well, the house caught fire because he was in there drunk, and it was the apartment. It caught on fire. Malcolm's character, Amir, was in the adjacent apartment. As that apartment caught on fire, which caused him to get burned all on the other side of his face. They don't show you the burn on this image, but that's where the two of them connect. And so her husband, who actually is spoiler alert, ends up dying in this latest season. I know, right? But he had to ask for forgiveness. Like he literally had to ask for forgiveness. So it was a great storyline. He was only there like one episode, but it was a very impactful episode. Yes, he definitely was in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's just been all over the place. Like if y'all watch the beginning intro, I think I'm gonna play that intro as the outro. But if y'all watch that, y'all will see that this man has been in over well over 100 plus different projects. Yes, he was in 9/11. Yep.
So
Yep.
he was in Grownish. I don't even remember him in Grownish. I feel like I watched
Grownish,
every
yes.
episode of Grownish.
Yes. And that's the thing. Like, even he did it for me, it seems as if even if he did 1 or 2 episodes, he was good. Like, he was good to go no matter what. So he didn't mind taking what somebody else might consider a small role. Just his presence, like I said, his presence just stood out no matter what. So it was impactful, and there's just so much. There's so much that, you know, I hate that we're doing this now. I wish I could have honored him while he was still around, but he will definitely be remembered for all of the things that he has done. Yes, we did talk about read between the lines. We did that a little bit earlier. Definitely side characters are definitely important. DeMarcus Lines, definitely.
Maybe not as important as DeMarcus want them to be, but they are important.
Oh Lord. Not y'all tonight. Yo, we are not talking about. Yes, we will later. I know what y'all gonna talk about. Sorry for the D. But detect that. But Malcolm-Jamal Warner was not only a actor, music director, producer, writer, author. He was also in a band, and he had a band that he and a friend created called Miles Long. And the other member was Khalif Bobatoon, and he actually had a couple of episodes in the Cosby Show. He was in the Cosby Show like 1 or 2 times, and that's how they initially met and became friends. And Khalif is the one that sat off to the side back there, and you know, they started, you know, making music together, and you know, just rhyming. And he's a spoken word artist. So, you know, people and poets, they're poets. A lot of people don't really look at poetry. They don't listen to poetry, but he made it cool to listen to. He made it okay to listen to. You know, he had the music that went behind it, had the words, and it was impactful, you know, impactful words. So if y'all ever get a chance, definitely you can find anything on YouTube, but check out Miles Long. And he was doing this thing in Atlanta called the Miles Long Experience at City Walk. It was a venue in Atlanta called City Walk, and he was doing, you know, just so many different shows. And in this Miles Long Experience, it would consist of comedians, other artists. Like it was a big thing, and he would have sold out shows, multiple sold out shows. So he's like continually working, EJ, continually working.
Okay, multifaceted. I love it.
Yes. So that's him on his bass guitar. Guitar, love it.
True artists, you know, them artists, when they be able to play them instruments and they can sing and they can do all the things. He directed. Look at him modeling.
That part.
It said he was in Sons of Anarchy, and I feel like I watched every episode of Sons of Anarchy. I'm trying to remember.
Girl, there was so many, y'all. I didn't even touch the surface. If I had, it would take me at least a good 2 hours to really, really talk about everything, or just about everything that Malcolm-Jamal Warner has done. But his legacy will definitely live on forever and ever. He will continually be impactful to the community. He was an advocate. He back when he was like speaking for like AIDS awareness and just all different causes, all the different causes. He was using his voice. So he wasn't just obtaining this fame and notoriety and not doing anything with it. He was, you know, out there really, really working. When we sleeping, he working to either help somebody or to do something, you know. So let's see. I think that's all of my. Make sure that's all my. Because listen, I will go on for days and days and days and days talking about all things Malcolm-Jamal Warner, but he was truly, truly, truly an amazing individual. His presence is definitely going to be missed. I, as a fan, would just I'm emotional. I'm holding it down right now, but y'all have no idea because it's just like that song that R. Kelly made. That he, even though we didn't know him, he grew up in our homes on our TVs. It's almost as if he was a brother to a lot of us, and so I just want to remind everybody that the reports say that Malcolm-Jamal Warner tragically passed away July 20th by asphyxiation in Limon, Costa Rica, while on a family vacation. And it's sad. It's sad. He's going, for me, it's gone too soon. He had a baby girl. She's 8. She turned 8 this year. And so, a wife and a daughter, another child has to go on without their parent. But he definitely is gonna leave a mark. He has left a mark on the world. So any final thoughts on Malcolm-Jamal Warner, EJ?
Yeah, I don't know. This was great. I love doing this because I knew I was gonna learn like a lot of things because I don't always dive deep into a lot of people's stuff. But this was great, and I have to concur with Kay and Tamika, the same sentiments. This is one person that you've never heard any scandals with. You never hear any bad things. Every interview that you see with him, he's always so humble, always so kind, and everybody always speaks so highly of him. And we did grow up with him on our television screen. So it does feel like this is your brother, because this is somebody that you literally watched grow from a young man to a grown man. And right. It just feels unreal, and it just reminds you to love on the people that you love. It reminds you to tell people that you love them, that you care about them. It reminds you to say the things that you need to say and give people their flowers while they're here, because you could be gone the very next day, and it's tragic and it's sad. Just reading about that story with him, because his daughter was also in that water with him. And so it just, I don't know, it just feels like, you never want to hear about bad things happening, like these type of tragic accidents happening to really, really good people. It just always has you going into your head questioning, because like I said, he's not problematic at all. Just a down to earth, good hearted person, according to everybody that came in contact with him. So I think it's a loss for everybody. I think that everybody is feeling sad because, again, this is someone that did grow up on our television screens and we did see, and that we'll probably always remember as Theo, even though we know that he's played in countless other things. He's always going to be Theo to us.
Right. Absolutely, EJ. Absolutely. What's up, Chief? Always late. Thank you for tapping in. You're gonna have to hit that replay button. We just we're basically wrapping up discussing Malcolm-Jamal Warner, his life, his legacy, and we didn't even tap the whole surface of everything that he's been a part of. Like that would be a 4 or 5 hour show because there's just so much. But DeMarcus asked, "How do you feel about a living homegoing?" I would love that for me, because I know you're talking about what they did for Jada. Jada. I would love that. Celebrate me while I'm here versus when I'm gone. I'm not gonna be here to be able to feel, hear, or see any of your love, thoughts, and everything else. So give me my flowers while I'm here, and that is my thing. And I don't know if a lot of you really pay attention to my platform, but I try my best to not put people down, because you just never, even if the person aggravates the heck out of me, I'm gonna talk about the character, but I'm not gonna talk about the person that portrays the character. So it's like I try to give people their flowers and show love to those people while they are here, versus wait until moments like this where they're gone And I would, if it came to that, I mean, I would love a living homegoing. You know, some people have living homegoings every year when they give themselves a birthday party. So you know, that's kind of. I know it's only done when the person finds out that they only have so many months left of life. But you know,
Yeah.
I would do that. What about you, EJ?
Yeah, I would be here for it. Like if I knew that I was terminally ill, and I would be here for that. I would want the people that love me to be able to say whatever they wanted to say to me while I was here, and to be able to get those feelings out. Like I would want to be a part of that process, especially like for my children and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I would want to be a part of being able to allow them to express their feelings, their love, you know, whatever the case is. So I'm not opposed to that. I never really thought about it until we watched this episode of The Chi. To be honest, I never thought about it in that sense, because I mean, you know, because there's so many, I guess, because for me, death has always happened so suddenly and so quick, where you never get the chance to say the things that you wanted to say to people, or that maybe you should have said to them because they were just gone. So the idea of being able to give people who love me that moment, I think it would be the most unselfish thing that a person could ever do.
Yep, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Well, y'all, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. We have, like I said, you guys, we have reflected on the life and a portion of the legacy of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. He will never ever be forgotten. As they say, the cliche saying, gone way too soon. But you know, we also know that we're only given a set amount of time of life, and when our time is come, it's our time. You know, if some to us it may seem abrupt, but to the man up above, you know, it's in his timing. So you know, I'm just honored to have had the opportunity to just even watch him on any television show, any moment, any video, anything that I would have, you know, had the opportunity to see Malcolm-Jamal Warner in. He, you know, he was a great person. Like you said, never problematic, no issues. Sass Palm said, when I get paid next week, I'm going to send y'all money. This tribute to Malcolm-Jamal Warner was beautiful done and so informative. The research you put into it, honoring him, was much appreciated. Listen, Sass Palm, for me, I appreciate your thoughts of doing something like that. For me, it's not mandatory. If that's what you choose to do, it's always appreciated. But just know that, you know, we do these things because we love it. We love bringing stories to you guys. We love, you know, just communicating and engaging with you guys. And y'all just stay tuned for Tika and EJ. We got some things in the works. We're not going to speak on it like that, but just know we got some things, unless EJ wants to, but just know we have some things in the works that's gonna, I think it's gonna bring y'all some joy. Y'all gonna enjoy what we're doing. So, any thoughts, EJ? And thank you, DeMarcus, for the super sticker.
Thank you, DeMarcus, for the super sticker. And Sass Palm, thank you for always thinking of us and always being so appreciative. I really, really appreciate you always supporting the channel. You are one of my channel members. So I super, 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 super thank you. It's not necessary, but girl, listen, whatever you do, we appreciate it wholeheartedly and we accept it. And yes, y'all, listen, Tika and I are going to be telling more stories at some point. So I just want y'all to know that we up here cooking something up and we're excited about it. And we hope that you guys are going to be excited about it when we get ready to really talk about it and really talk about it and get it on out there. Just know that we here and we appreciate all of y'all.
Absolutely. With that being said, y'all get the fortune of watching a little portion of that R. Kelly or listening to that R. Kelly thing. But replay gang, I apologize because it's not gonna be here.
They're gonna take it out.
not gonna be here because I'm gonna have to take it out. They ain't coming for my channel. But
Okay.
thank you guys. Thank you all so much for being here. Sasquatch, Marcus Vaughn, Tamika's Den, she's always late. Kay Calloway. Y'all know I be stuttering over these names, but that's okay. I'm doing better than I know. I'm gonna do. Tish Priceless, all of y'all. Just thank you, Johnny Davis. Thank you, Philly girl, LM. Thank you for coming through. We absolutely love and appreciate y'all. Stephanie Wilson Gross. We absolutely appreciate y'all. Y'all have an amazing rest of your night, and we up out of this thing. Y'all have a good one.
See y'all tomorrow.
Heard the news through a whisper in the yard. Somebody said Malcolm gone. I sat there and I ain't even know what to feel, man. We ain't break bread or talk on the phone, but I knew his name like a brother's name. I remember watching you on the screen, a black man with grace, not just part of the scene. You walk like royalty, talk with truth. You showed the world what a real man do. You weren't chasing fame, you were. Heard the news through a whisper in the yard. Somebody said Malcolm gone. I sat there and I ain't even know what to feel, man. We ain't break bread or talk on the phone, but I knew his name like a brother's name. I remember watching you on the screen, a black man with grace, not just part of the scene. You walk like royalty, talk with truth. You showed the world what a real man do. You weren't chasing fame, you were chasing light. Taught young kings how to walk right. You stood in a storm with your head held high, and now the world's asking why. I didn't know you, but I felt the loss, like we all lost something when your soul took off. And from this prison, I bow my head for a brother gone too soon, a life well spread. You left your mark, man, you stood your ground. Now heaven got a king wearing that crown. And though I ain't get to call you a friend, this is love from one soul to another. Until